In today's video, I'm going to show you how we fix this controller board with part number 316650001, and it works both with the Frigidaire and Kenmore ranges. For those of you who don't know me, my name's Nick. I started Nick's Electronics Repair over a decade ago, and since then we've fixed over 26,000 devices. Now the first thing we want to do is actually take this controller board apart, and to do that we're going to remove this top circuit board by pinching this clip here and lifting it through. Now we can lift that off. And we'll actually put this to the side. The reason is because this circuit board is the one that most commonly fails. We're gonna flip it over and take a closer look. I'm actually gonna use my microscope to really zoom in on some of these joints because we are able to now clearly see there is a crack over on the right side. But I don't know that this is the cause of our fault because the left side of the joint actually looks okay. So while this is a joint we'll definitely need to touch up, I don't know that that is actually the cause of our failure. If we look at this one over here, it does look like we also have a crack, a little bit less separation, but the crack does seem to be going around a larger portion of the joint. And what do we have here? It looks like we have a little bug, but I don't think that it's necessarily shorting out the joints, so that's probably okay, although we'll get rid of it. And I'm doing a quick check on some of our other joints, and these look okay so far. Okay, and then the rest of the board, I just did a quick check and it looks okay. Now the customer that brought in this controller board for us to fix did mention the issues were very intermittent. However, they wanted us to fully refurbish the board to ensure that there's no issues in the near future. So that's what we'll do. The first thing I want to do with these controller boards is remove these two relays over here because those are known to commonly fail. And when they do, they can actually cause a lot of damage to the board, including burning up this R1 resistor over here. So let's remove them and we'll test them out of circuit. Now to remove these relays, we're going to have to desolder 6 joints per relay. We have 2 over here, 2 over here, and the last 2 over here. Now before I start my desoldering process, I'm actually going to add a little bit of solder first. And next I'll use my desolder pump. There's just a little bit of solder left. So we're gonna finish desoldering it with the desolder wick. Gonna give it a quick pass. All right, and now both of them come out. Now the testing process is fairly simple, using my multimeter in continuity mode. When I get a short, I get a beep. Now when they are not activated, I should not be getting a beep between these 2 sets of leads, and I do not, so that's good. And same with this one, I do not, which is also good. Now using my external DC power supply, when I apply 9 volts, we get a click, and do we get continuity now? We do get continuity, so that confirms this relay is working. We'll turn it off. And the power just dissipated. It takes a second, but the power dissipated and the relay clicked off, which is good. We'll do the same thing on the other one. The relay just clicked. And I have no continuity. Yeah, I'm trying the second time and I cannot get continuity. So this relay is actually defective. It is possible that this relay is currently acting up for us as it was for the customer, but it is possible that before it fully failed, it was intermittently working, or it's possible that if I keep trying to test it, eventually I could get it to trigger to turn on. But this does confirm this relay is bad, and that is going to be the source of the problem for this customer's controller board. We'll go ahead and replace both, of course, because if one of them is bad, the other one is probably not far behind. The relays I'm going to use are a little bit different visually. They're from a different manufacturer, but they are almost identical specs, and they will work as correct replacements. We'll go ahead and zoom in on that a little bit, and we'll go ahead and start soldering a couple of the legs in just to lock in the relays. There we go. Now we can solder some of the others, and we'll come back to those legs in a second to reinforce them. We do have another 5 relays here and 1 over here. These guys I have actually never seen fail before. It's only ever been these 2. So in my experience, we are safe to keep these relays in play. We don't have to replace them. However, we should be reflowing them because often on the back, we do get some stress on these joints. They can and do tend to crack. So we're gonna wanna reflow them preemptively to ensure we don't have those cracked solder joints in the near future. Now that was the large one. Next we'll do the smaller ones. And for those, we're gonna reflow these joints here. And finally, we're gonna reflow the connector joints over here. Now these were the ones that we had seen had partially cracked, but not fully. So we were suspecting that, well, that is a problem that we do need to address. They were not the actual culprit or reason for the issue the customer is experiencing. Now, something else I would like to do is reflow these joints over here. And the reason for is these are the contact for the high power, and those can and do tend to crack as well. So this is just preemptive repairs. When we fix these, we both want to make sure we address the immediate issue and also preemptively fix anything that can break in the near future. One of the worst things that I think could happen is if we perform a repair and 3 months later, the customer experiences a different issue. So we just want to get ahead of it. But let's say we did make a mistake and we didn't catch all the faults. We do always offer a 1-year warranty with our repairs. So worst case scenario, you are covered. Now before we put it all back together, we're gonna go ahead and do a quick cleanup, remove some of that excess flux. Now I didn't add specifically additional flux for the soldering, but I do have flux embedded inside of the solder that we use. So simply by using the solder, it did add flux to the board. All right, this does complete our repair, so we'll go ahead and put it back together and then we can do some live testing. The controller board has been installed back into the oven. We're gonna go ahead and use our metal contact to press some of the buttons, and we're gonna activate our broil. And there we go, now it's started. And we'll go ahead and let it warm up, make sure that it does reach its correct temperature, and then we'll reconvene. All right, so it has been a little bit. We are still heating up, but I wanna show you. Let's see, so it's saying 40 degrees Celsius. Let's open up the oven all the way. Yeah, and you can tell it says 214 degrees now. So we're definitely getting to that temperature. So we're gonna go ahead and call this repair a successful repair. If you're interested in sending in your board for us to fix, we do offer flat rate services, which come with a 1-year warranty. Those are available on our website, which will be linked in the description down below. Otherwise, if you found the video helpful or useful, make sure to leave us a like, subscribe for more content, and thank you for watching.